as Crypto ISO on Crypto Twitter. We got an awesome episode for you guys today, but lots to talk about, lots to get into. But before I get started, would you please do me a favor, smash that like button, make us look good for the YouTube algo. Also want to take a quick second to thank our sponsor Phemex, one of the only non-KYC derivatives exchanges left in crypto. Click the link in the description below to get up to $6,000 in sign-up bonus. Now, the last thing I'll say before we get started here on Tools of the Trade, we are not financial advisors, and this information is for educational purposes only. Welcome to another episode of Tools of the Trade. Trip, my man, how's it going?
Oh, man. Crypto's fun again.
It is, isn't it? At least the past 48 hours have been.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like a lot of funny stuff going on right now. And obviously price is going up. And one of the biggest kind of like catalysts that anyone in the space has been waiting for is like materializing before their eyes. So it's pretty hard to not be happy and enjoying it. I mean, the chart like just literally went parabolic. So now it's like, do we see the typical crypto cycle of like BTC made its move, then ETH plays catch up, and then you go absolutely crazy with like altcoins and anything on chain? Like that's what I think it's looking like. So yeah, it's actually been a lot more of my focus recently, because like you either, well, I mean, if you have spot exposure, it's like fine, right? So, but if you were either in the move or you weren't, like the speed of it, or you just had to tell yourself like 25K, like I'm gonna buy there, right? Or even at like 27, we were talking about like 26.8 when it traded through there.
Yep.
Do you think it's gonna go to like 30, 37 or wherever it went? Like,
no, absolutely not, dude.
Yeah, this fast, like it's like no. So, and I think the velocity of it and the speed at which it happened caught a lot of people off guard.
Definitely.
So, yeah, so it's like, all right, cool. Like it's all good for the space. Everyone's like, oh, it's a sell the news event. It's like I don't know yet.
I don't think so just yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
If so, it's being priced in early, and I don't think it's necessarily sell the news going into it just yet. But yeah, a lot of cool things to talk about today. We do have a special guest, another liquidity surgeon operator. He's gotten really good at using Hyblock himself, has called a ton of moves in the Crypto Insider chat. PizzaMan, my man, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are y'all doing today?
We're good, man. Good to have you.
I feel like I talked to you maybe like 2 hours ago or something on our late night Spaces marathon we've been doing. Which is funny because I met PizzaMan through the Pandas. So
through late night Spaces.
Yep, late night Spaces. And then
PizzaMan, why don't you give people a little bit of background, who you are, how you got into the space, your relationship with ISO, etc. And we kind of move on from there.
All right. I after high school and a little bit of school, I went into the oil field. I was going to go to some college, but I got offered a job that paid way too much money. So I took it, and then it turned into kind of, I guess, a career. I went around to different states and Texas also as a QA, QC, and welding inspector, and in-service welding inspector occasionally, doing hot taps and things like that, and emergency jobs for leaks. And then in 2019, usually what happens is you'll have projects that'll last 6 months, a year, whatever. And then after that, they lay everybody off, and then you go find another project. And after the 2019 one, I decided to take a little bit of time off. And then I found out I went on a deep sea fishing trip, offshore fishing trip with my buddy. And his cousin was into crypto, and we got back and we're just sitting there talking and drinking a beer, and he kind of shilled us some crypto, and I didn't know anything about it. I'd never traded stocks or anything at all before. And he told me to download crypto.com and buy some Shiba Inu.
There you go. When was this? Do you remember at what price it was, like where you're at?
It was June of 21. So it was like 0.00007. It was like 5 zeros and a 7, I believe. So it was a pretty good price. I mean, I'm sure it was a lot lower, and people got in a whole lot earlier than that. But for me, I mean, I got in then and 7 or 8x my money in a few months, and didn't know what I was doing, had no idea. So I just held on to it, and it just retraced back to my entry, and I sold it back when I was right before it got to losing money. So I didn't lose any money, but I lost all the profit because I had no idea. I remember the only thing I remember seeing Alex Becker saying that on a YouTube video that he thought it was the top, and there's going to be a blow off top soon. I was like, okay. I mean, I kind of have an idea of what that is, and I didn't act on it. And sure enough, he was actually right. He was very right. Right after the year started, 22, everything seemed to start going downhill. So then it kept going down, and I kept buying some spot here and there, and had never traded perps. And then probably about a year ago, maybe, was the first time I traded perps, and it was with ISO in the Panda chat. I said, "Do you remember that? What was it? I think it was Maker, maybe. We took a trade on that, and it went up, and I was up like 80%, I believe." Mm-hmm. And then a lot of longs started entering in.
Yeah.
I remember you saying that kind of concerned you. And I didn't know that longs entering at that point meant that it was going to go down probably.
I love how simplistic the explanation is.
Yeah. And I remember you saying that made you nervous, so you got out. I didn't get out. I didn't know.
Yeah, we all.
And I lost. That was my first time getting liquidated.
Oh,
I lost it all. And it was within like 10 hours or something, or like 12 hours, or maybe less.
So were you babysitting the chart the entire time?
Somewhat. It was.
That's an honest answer.
I would look at it like every 30 minutes, and it just kept going up. So what I should have done is once it got up to a certain point, raise my stop loss up. But I didn't know anything about stop losses and stuff like that, or where to set them. And so from there, I just started learning from ISO more. I think he was talking to Leaf in the Panda Trades chat room.
Yeah, and Leaf. There were some traders in there, not just like the NFT people, but then like people started to just like post Hyblock stuff in there. Like basically like, all right, this is what we're trading. And Bags is probably like, this is Panda chat. God damn it.
But yeah, I learned an awful lot from ISO. I mean, pretty much everything I learned from him. And then once I started, following him, I followed you and Nick, and just started learning from y'all and watching. I literally sat for like a year almost, and with my head down in the charts and Hyblock and watching YouTube videos and everything. And crypto Twitter is really where I learned everything from.
Yeah. When used correctly, it's a good tool.
Yep,
for sure.
Yeah. And Hyblock, once I learned to understand that from ISO explaining it, it made perfect sense, and just went from there.
Love it.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to see. Amoeba was like our first kind of guy who like learned liquidity theory, and then I would say you're probably the second instance of someone who picked it up pretty quickly and is like, understand the concept, and then are also really active with sharding and like updating, even in Crypto Insiders. Sometimes I'm not at my screen, so I can't do that, but yeah, it's good.
I just watched y'all, and then I started doing it and saw that it works. It worked, and so why not use it? I mean, people
find pieces of your system that works for you and just make it your own. But yeah, let's hop into some crypto, boys and girls. So Trip, let's kind of get your BTC take. where we're at right now, and then we can kind of move on to discuss macro. I know we have some macro events this week.
Yeah.
FOMC, I think, right?
I honestly haven't looked because I've been so wrapped up in other stuff, but let me pull up the calendar. I do know that there's an FOMC coming. Hold on here. Let's see here. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
So, Thursday. Friday we have core PC. I don't know when the next FOMC is. It's in
I
November.
thought
Then?
Wabi was saying it's Friday. Maybe he was mistaken.
Well, next Friday, November 3rd, you're going to get non-farm. And
Okay.
then, but he thinks this Friday? Hold on.
Yeah, he could be off though.
So that's the 27th.
31st to the 1st is the next FOMC.
Okay, so it's in November. Or Halloween.
Yes.
I don't know. I'll have to catch up on all that stuff. But like, if we just look at the charts of like the actual indexes themselves, and we can look at the dollar and all that stuff. Like this, the S&P and the Nasdaq to me, I think the S&P is still at the 200-day moving average or holding it. So like we're in this channel, right? Can you see this?
Yep.
Yes.
This is holding for now, and it's on the 200-day, right? Like I think what can happen is like you can work yourself out of this, and you can kind of trade in this like big channel like this for a while, or I guess you could draw a trend line here like this. Like it just seems like this is we kind of seen similar distribution like this with Bitcoin, remember? And then it got to like, what was it, 25K initially, and it like ripped back up really hard.
Yep.
I think you're starting to see an instance of this just because seasonality is going to come into play with this, in my opinion. And then if you look at the Nasdaq, like people might start to say that this is like a descending triangle.
Yeah,
You have
I can see that.
flat bottoms here. But if you start to break above this, then this thing's probably going to go to just new highs, right? So
Yeah.
it's still pretty far away from the 200-day moving average, though, which is interesting because the S&P is sitting here on it, but we know that the beta has been in like most of the tech stuff, right?
Yep.
So that's still a driver. I mean, and then you look at this chart. This is Bitcoin versus the S&P, right? It's now
Ripping.
like it looks. Does this right here not look like these? Where like, did Bitcoin just do a move and then it slows down and these things start to catch up? That's a real possibility in my mind. Like, how much higher is Bitcoin going to go? Like, it's probably going to consolidate and like range around here, is my guess. I don't think it's going to nuke or anything like that. And then if you look at oil, like, what is it, 83? So it's not putting like too much pressure on the market like when it did when it was like going up and people were worried about it. If you look at the dollar, look at this one. I haven't looked at the chart of the dollar. What is it, 106 still?
Yep, I think so. 106 too.
Yeah, so it hasn't really done too much outside of like after it hitting like 107, right? So it's like, are you consolidating here and you're going to make a move up to 108, like this fib, this actual like pivot up here? Or was this like, you're running this high and now it's going to like distribute back down, and that would probably coincide with risk trading up relative to like how Bitcoin and crypto trade? It's like to the dollar right now. We said it was kind of like in its own little world, like it's in a vacuum to begin with. when it was
Yep.
underperforming, and now it still is, but it's like massively outperforming, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's not like the whole macro picture for this is for crypto is like it's kind of irrelevant right now. At least it feels like that because there's like the biggest driver of price right now is like ETF, right? And like if they're actually campaigning out there basically saying like flight to safety, um, okay, well then then it starts to trade like a gold or something like that, right? So
Yep.
it's still in it's still kind of in an identity crisis for me. But yeah, that's like kind of my quick and dirty on just some of the indices, dollar, and how crypto's like massively outperforming those things.
I like that. All right, I'm gonna take a look at BTC here for a quick sec. So this edge is so interesting, man. I'm just gonna go out and say I was super wrong that we're gonna break out of the cloud or break down out of the cloud. Obviously, the Shiku span was the only thing when it was inside price that like did not make me feel like having the green light to take the trade to the long side. So obviously missed the move there. But now that we're decisively over 30K, the Shiku span's above price. The edge is completely active. 42K is definitely on the table. I think that's kind of where we're headed towards, and I do think the speed at which we get there actually is going to surprise some people. So I actually don't think we range. I think we kind of just like consolidate and continue just moving up to 42K. Do we go above, distribute before? I don't know, but I really do think this is going to be a very quick move to 42 before maybe even the end of the month.
I mean, I'll take it, but yeah. So I mean, was the one thing that made you because of the Chiku span being below price?
It was just this. It was just being inside price. Yeah, that was really it. Everything else was green light, and this just told me that price was ranging versus being trending. So that's why I kind of faded myself there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean it was tough down there. I mean, look at some of those candles. I mean,
I
you
mean,
also
yeah, just the
had
way it grinded at support, basically, right? And it
yeah,
has
you
these
also
equal
had
lows.
like a fake news pump with
Yep.
the Cointelegraph thing, and then it's like price didn't really go down. That's when I think people were like, "Well, maybe it was a test pump," you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, what does ETH look like on the cloud?
ETH has a long way to go to get to the cloud, actually. I think if I'm yeah. So ETH just kind of got rejected by the top of the cloud here, just about. It's going to take a little longer, just because the cloud to get into it is around 1960. So I think that's going to have to coincide with ETH kind of forming some sort of bottom and hopefully going towards range highs. Other than that, this 2680 target is kind of probably going to happen way after BTC makes its move. If it happens, it's going to require a lot of ETH strength. But speaking of ETH, looks like we kind of came into this high time frame range low, and put in some sort of temporary bottom for the time being. Where's that? PizzaMan, let's get your take on BTC, ETH, where you think the market's going. Then we can kind of get into some liquidity stuff because I feel like that's a good segue.
Well, as far as Bitcoin goes, I've been very skeptical of any move up. Obviously, this is a strong one, but I feel like this is what they want you to think. That now it's bullish, and yes, they could just do a short, squeeze some longs and get rid of some of them, and then continue back up. Right now, I'm not convinced of anything. Also, I don't see a reason. My main thing is I don't see a reason as to what would bring us back to 12K, like what people are calling for.
12K, man.
Or 15K or the yearly open. Yeah, I don't understand. I think something very bad would have to happen, like another pandemic, or we'd have to enter into a war. Something bad would have to happen. I really don't think it's going there. But I don't know. I feel like the market makers, they do the opposite of what they convince everyone is going to happen. They wait for that. It seems like I've noticed that in the last few months. I could be wrong, but it seems like when everybody's euphoric and calling for higher prices, then all of a sudden it goes back down. And when it's down at the bottom and everybody's thinking it's the end of the world, then it starts to go back up.
Short and sweet. I love that. If you don't mind sharing your screen, giving us a little take on the maybe more low time frame, or like at least like sub day, to see like where you're thinking on the low time frames, where we're going in the short term or near term, I should say.
Let's see, share screen. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, if you're holding above the 31.5, like that zone,
Yeah,
it's pretty bullish, right? Those are like prior highs.
absolutely.
Those are huge POV.
Yeah. See the horizontal rays to the right, the green ones that you see, and those are obviously some, I guess, key levels for me, the highs that I was looking for possible rejections from. But the main thing for me is this this trend line right here. Once it got broken and then came down and retested, like right there,
Yep.
that is like the ideal spot for a long, from what I've learned and what I've seen in my experiences. I know SC, I've seen him do that a million times. Wait for it to break above or below a trend and then tag right at it again, and then it just, a lot of the time it goes the direction it was going to go in the first place once it broke it.
Star flips. Yep.
Yeah, and there's numerous times where I'm very skeptical of that, and I do not follow it. But I mean, it's in my opinion, it's never not worth a try. Like if it's right here, and you can enter into a long and have minimal risk, to where your stop loss is below, if it goes back into below the trend line. I mean,
Internet go out?
Yeah, I think we might have lost him.
that's minimal risk, and
Yeah.
So in that instance, it's worth, to me, it's worth taking a risk of a loss every single time, because the loss is so small compared to the possible gain.
And I like that. Repeatable
I just try
system.
to keep it simple like that, because if I overthink things, I will sit there and overanalyze it, and I'll confuse myself. And
Try to get out of your own way, right?
I found that if I just keep it simple, and also that it sounds weird, but if I pay less attention to it, like once I find a trade I want to enter in, obviously, don't watch it. Like y'all have always said, do not watch the P&L. Do not watch price. Just set your stop loss and set your TPs and let it play out. It's hard to do, because sometimes all of a sudden I'll see something else in Telegram or Discord or on Twitter that says something that I know has affected price. So then obviously I'll go in and look and see that it's either going more my way or not my way, and that's when emotions kick in. And I think that that's one of the most important parts. Everyone knows that, and everyone says that. It's no big secret. But I think that controlling your emotions and having things to do and not staring at the screen, those are key factors. But also just keeping it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. And when you see something that has minimal risk but could be a potential greater reward, always take it. If you don't take it, what else trade are you going to take? What else are you looking for? I mean, there's really nothing better than that right there. I mean, what else would I want as far as risk management and a possible 10 to 1 or something? 10 to, yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You just have to wait for those trades. That's the thing.
Yeah,
If you
be
wait for
patient.
those, they do happen.
Yeah,
But
and
like
that's been
picking
very
and
hard
choosing,
the first like few months or even whatever year. I found myself. It was almost like if I got bored or I would just want to be in a trade to have something to do, and that's completely the wrong mindset to have.
oh
That
yeah.
that's just
If
like
you
having
can
money
figure
in your
that out
pocket and
early,
it's
then
just
you're
burning a
then you're
hole in your
winning.
pocket, just going to spend it just to spend it. Uh, and that's what I did. I learned the hard lesson of doing that. You know, you lose a lot, especially on if you try to trade high leverage perps. I mean, those are good sometimes, but a
Altcoins
lot of
on
these
leverage.
guys, yeah, trading 50 and 100x. In my opinion, just my opinion, I'd much rather have a much larger position size with a 10x or a 5x, and than a smaller position size with a 100x. It, I think it's more about the position size than leverage, and that if
Always.
people are using leverage as that the deciding factor, they're doing it wrong, in my opinion.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Degens. I just looked at Hyblock, and I also stopped looking at Hyblock after I think I tried to short Bitcoin at 29 like 3. It's like if this if this goes above 29.5, like I'm out, and this thing's gonna go a lot higher. And I mean, look, can you see this? I mean, this is
Yep.
why like liquidity theory and trending markets are way different, right? This is 23 billion in longs on Bitcoin,
Yeah,
just like building. This is the tough part about this, especially with moves like that. So you can't really use this stuff to. I mean, you could to a certain extent probably like shorter term moves, but like it's just gone straight up as longs have continued to pile in, right? And so I don't know what ETH looks. I'm
yeah,
gonna
that's
try.
definitely another thing I had to learn that high block is not always useful. When it's trending, it's you'll just get your stops blown through every time.
Yeah.
And I had to learn not to set limit orders and just wait for those big liquidation bubbles to get tagged, because if it's trending, then
You don't want to
it'll
be
get tagged.
trading
But
against the direction of the trend when it's trending, especially trying to use high block. It's good for ranging markets, not so good in trending markets. That's why I pivot to Ichimoku for that.
Yeah. So I mean, like ETH. Uh, Actually, there's not as many longs on 6.3 isn't that high actually. We've seen like much higher ones. But I think if we go look at like the heat maps on like Bitcoin for like higher time frame, like let's look at a 3 month to see like what did we just remove? Like because at some point you do run. I mean, look at this, dude. This is insane. Like, and then there's this here still. Is this ever gonna get hit?
Yeah, I think maybe after 42, that's a reasonable expectation to like sweep the equal lows of 25, and then go to all-time highs after that.
I mean, so 6 month looks like, but we just like ripped through. Like, look, it didn't even like when you hit these like big, um, bright spots. Usually, like price gets an exhaustion point. It's just like kept going up, right?
that's
So I
normally
guess
where I would have set like a limit order around there after I looked at the liquidation levels. And
right, and look what the level is. It's the one we were just talking about, like the 31.5. This area,
Yep.
like basically 32. It went from just like 32 to like 36, and it like everyone probably tried to short, this deviation of like a
Yeah.
range high. And so when you have that move like that, like it's kind of hard to even trade, like think about trading Bitcoin right now, like because like what Zorn, where would you even think about trying to get long on the thing? A retest?
Probably. Yeah, retest. Depends if we're looking like
32?
low time frame. Yeah, 32.5, potentially even 32.8. Anything under 33 to me would be considered
So
value at
here's
this
your
point.
I guess this was the liquidity here. So you can't go 2 years. I wonder if if this is even relevant. Oh wow, this is really interesting. So maybe it's through 30.
Caps up to 42.
I mean, you. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
42. No, look at 40. Look right above 40. Well, what's that? Like, yeah, right there, 41.2. So there you go. It's like just under 42.
Yeah, I mean, you can just take a block right here and just that. This is your like resistance. Like this is big resistance here.
Yep.
So if the price goes up into like this whole zone here, I guess that's like 40, essentially. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. And then like you have to understand that you could have 30 plus billion in longs on Hyblock, and it still probably won't matter.
Yep.
If price wants to continue in that direction. Let's look at a 12-hour just to see like what the near term.
Doesn't Bitcoin normally reverse around the 20 billion?
Yeah, I mean
That's in ranging markets, though. That's like the
30.
one key metric to keep in mind.
Yeah, but so here, this would be one way to look at near term Bitcoin, right? So we got 33, basically down to 32, 32. You said 32.8, Zorn?
Yeah, but like honestly, I would get long probably in the 33s. I do think this is kind of a trending bullish move, so I'd rather be in than not. Anything near 33, I think, would be a buy for me.
That's your nearest liquidity right there, and then you're going up. You're running.
I feel like if you fill this wick at 33, you get that.
You have your screen up? Oh, yeah. That like DBS though?
Yeah, I just kind of like buying support. I would
In
just like add more down to 32.5. Yeah. I really do think this is a strong trending move. I don't know how tight I can get on it, but like just say 30. And then 40 would be the target, 41, 42. Oh. Hold it.
I think if you're going below 31.5,
then it's going back down.
Yeah, because you'd lose those highs. That's the thing. I think that's like
Yeah.
And then
the
people
tighter,
start panicking.
a tighter invalidation.
Which ones these?
Yeah. 31.5, 31.8, any of that stuff. Like, I mean,
Break that below there.
yeah, but that's your perfect retest. I just don't think you get that.
I don't think you get a perfect. I don't want to wait for a perfect retest. I think it's pretty bullish just looking at the Ichimoku cloud.
Yeah. Is there like an hourly or a 4-hour Kijun that you look at?
That's actually a very good question. Let's see.
Because I remember you used to always look at the hourly Kijun, like
that tends to be a good spot in the super bullish. That is at 32.4. So yeah, I guess that would actually probably be the ideal entry. 32.5.
Right, and that's the liquidity pocket that we just saw on Hyblock.
So maybe do 32.5 with the stop below 31.4. Call it somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And then I'd be honestly playing that edge to edge to 42. Becomes a really attractive trade all of a sudden. But yeah, you'd have to kind of snipe that, but I do think that's probably the best move. Yeah.
You could layer that in on like a 32.6 to 4 too.
Yeah. That's why I think anything under 33 would be kind of value there.
Yeah. All right.
Take a look at what ETH. Yeah, I was gonna say. ETH BTC though, just looking at it in the short term, kind of looks like it's putting in the bottom. So if we can at least get back up to above here, like 1 or 2%, call it for bearish retest maybe here. See, ETH actually hit its hourly Kijun, oddly enough, on that last dump.
Yeah, look how.
Look at the reaction. Yeah. So
that's pretty bullish.
It's super bullish. I'm almost wondering if BTC doesn't give that perfect Kijun. It kind of front runs it. So that's why under 33, I think for me is value. But let's look here. Now, I don't think you're playing to 28 with this, but let's pretend you could get a retest of the Kijun, and then maybe setting your stop. I don't like these equal lows though. ETH's a little more difficult in my mind to kind of see. I think BTC is the better move. I don't think BTC's run is over just yet, so I actually don't like ETH longs, even to like the retest of the cloud at like 1900. I think
Yeah.
your funds are better spent longing BTC until ETH BTC kind of breaks back into the range, reclaims it, and kind of starts trending higher. There's no point in catching a knife. I hope I am, bear posting the ETH BTC bottom. It definitely could bottom here, but strength wise, I think BTC is going to kind of finish out its run before ETH kind of takes over.
I'm gonna pull up
What's the ETH liquidity looking like, Drip?
I'm trying to pull up an ETH chart to see like where we are. So can you see it?
Yep.
I'll just turn off the bands. But see that like the top diagonal?
Yep.
So
like just under 1900.
I mean, we almost went up to it.
Resistance.
It's like 1890. Yeah, so just under 1900, right?
Yep.
So like is this just going to be the channel that like ETH trades in, or like if you break above this diagonal, are you going to get like a move like Bitcoin did that could go like crazy?
Yeah, I'd love to see it break above and then a retest.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying, PizzaMan. Yeah.
What'd you say?
I see what he's saying with the break above and retest with that. Like if you extend that trend line, the bottom one on the left, that kind of crosses. Is that what you're kind of referring to?
Yes. Well, so you had this uptrend, right?
So stretch that out. Yeah. Yep.
If you got like, because it happened with Bitcoin and then it literally blew through it up, like ripped it, and everyone was trying to short this retest. So like, whatever, like, is ETH setting up to do something, and you'll start to probably see it in ETH BTC. But like, here's your 200-day moving average on ETH, and you're like trying to reclaim this. Like, remember when Bitcoin reclaimed the 200-day moving average? But it like kind of sat there for a bit. Like, let's actually look at that because it. Let's switch this over. Because this is like almost like what ETH is doing now, dude. Look, like this is the trend. It blew through it. Like this is the retest of everyone thought that like to short. This is the 200-day moving average. Bitcoin dances right here. Go over to ETH. Dance around here. Rip through this. And it goes to like 2200 or something. That's actually what I think could happen, but Bitcoin has to finish its move first.
Agreed.
So you got to watch ETH BTC really closely, but like this move in comparison to Bitcoin, like this is lagging. Like this is how it's setting up. Like what I was talking about market cycles and stuff. That Bitcoin does its thing, then ETH does its thing, and then everyone like parties on
fumbles and alts.
Yeah, I think Lido is actually one that's almost is maybe waking up or like was moving.
Haven't traded that one in a while.
Yeah,
it used to be your favorite there. I saw
Sushi, Lido, whatever the market is showing you figure it out. But I don't know that after doing that little live analysis on ETH, I think that's kind of where things could be heading. We can look at liquidity on it.
I was just going to pull it up. So interestingly enough, we kind of have some thickness up until that 1900 level, like you just mentioned, that diagonal.
Yeah.
1890, 1900, and then after that you kind of gap up to 2K. So is ETH BTC going to put in like a strong move back to this like range low, mid range, potentially range high? I think that kind of sets up for how ETH's going to behave, whether it's just doing that lagging retest like you mentioned, or it kind of does a bigger move. This is just a 7-day. If we look back even further,
I have a 6-month, and the liquidity is 2100, 2200. Like
this 1900 level is kind of key even on the 3-month liquidity, and then after that it kind of shoots up.
I think if you're decidingly closing above the 200-day moving average multiple days in a row on ETH, like you did with Bitcoin, it's gonna be a very similar move. And what what drives it, I don't know. Maybe it's ETH ETF stuff, right? We already saw
That's
like
true too. Yeah.
a couple hints of that, right? So you're just like, Bitcoin ETF stuff's done, and then it's like, oh well, crypto's fun again, and people want to put their money in it. Then they'll, are they going to go play the ETF one, right? Because the speed at which this
Yep.
stuff is happening is really a lot faster than I think people fathomed, and so if it just continues that way, then maybe that's how you get the ETH move.
I could do that.
And ETH, I'm trying to see here. Jeez, man, like 20, like if you trade above, wow, this could go up. ETH could go up a lot. Now that I'm looking at this.
ISO being bullish.
No, I'm not
Share,
saying like
share
buy
the
it here.
chart. You're on Hyblock still, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying like buy it here. I'm just, if I'm thinking about like how the market is moving and what could be the potential next thing, and how it has worked in the past, like this one, ETH looks like it could do something stupid, and it's a
Above
massive level.
2,000, maybe 21, 22, possibly.
When ETH goes, it really goes.
I think it'll be explosive, especially
imagine you start
been
trading
lagging.
above this. If you start trade like this is the 31.5 on Bitcoin, basically, Zoran.
Yep.
So everyone tries to short like 2K, and it goes boom, like like 2,400 or something. What would the edge to edge be on
2,800 would be the edge.
28? Look at that, 50% Fibonacci.
Yep.
That's why Bitcoin, if you pull a fib on Bitcoin, is 42 the 50%?
It might have been, yeah, I think. No.
Look at that, 42.
Yeah.
I mean, 48 is the 61.8. This stuff is like, we all wanted the echo bubble and everything. Like,
yeah, that's what I was trying to like. It's been
13.
feeling more likely this is still like drawn out echo bubble.
Right. So
and
like,
it just like
we
chopped
got
everyone
that.
up like in that 6 to 7K range before it went to 13. So who's to say it doesn't go from 25 to 50, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the other thing that I was looking at, which was, I posted this on Twitter a bunch because I was like, I'm gonna step back and like look at what Bitcoin has done. It was in a range for 190 days between 25K and 31.
Yep.
So anything about trading, it's like, dude, look at this chart. You just broke out of like a huge range.
A huge reaccumulation range, yeah.
This is like half a year. So like fading that stuff is like scary, right? If you break down, then you probably would go take out this low. But as it stands, like that would, if Bitcoin actually like, it was just super choppy in a 19% range for almost 190 days.
Choptober.
Yeah. So it was actually kind of setting up for that, but hindsight. All right. So now that we know, or we looked at Bitcoin, we looked at ETH, can look at some altcoins people want. I mean, I don't think it's really going to be that beneficial to look at liquidity on altcoins right now. But we can.
Especially because everything's trending.
Yeah. So like, I'll just look at Lido because I'm actually curious to see like what it is. I saw some people tweeting about it, and then I also saw like it got bought up.
Yeah, I saw HA tweet about it from other people.
We actually might be able to look at the liquidity on the heat map for it because they have alts now. Hold on, let me see if I can do that.
Yeah. What's been on your radar recently, PizzaMan?
Do what?
What's been on your radar? What's been on your radar recently with alts? Anything specific?
At the moment, mostly on chain, to be honest.
Hell yeah, man!
I've pretty much somewhat strayed from on-chain perps and things right now. I'm just kind of sideline watching. And
That's fair.
I haven't been trading too many altcoin perps, but it could be.
On-chain seems to be much more interesting and
dude, it's more
explosive
fun
right now. Yeah,
it's more fun. Dude, look at the liquidity on Lido on the 3-month.
Oh,
Can you
wow.
see this?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
The gap up to like 2-1.
yeah, it could go. Yeah, 210.
210. Yep.
I don't know if a 6-month is going to show us anything. Oh wow, look at this. Here you go.
Yeah,
Lido.
2.6.
Whoa.
Yeah, it could have a monster move.
If ETH does the thing I think that's going to happen, this is your beta to ETH. Dude, this thing. Oh my God. Look at that. Because look what it took down here.
82.
Yep. I like that a lot, actually.
Is there a cloud setup on this?
Let me take a peek.
This is why these streams are great. It's literally just analysis live. Hopefully we uncover some gems.
Not enough data for any of the higher time frame edge hedges. The only one that we do have right now is currently active to just under $2, $1.95. But still, even from here, I mean, I don't know if that was the bottom today. Today's bottom is going to be tomorrow's low or not, but let's just pretend it was. It's not as attractive here, just to play up to here from the edge to edge perspective. But if we think that this is going to go higher, 2.6, I think you said, Trip.
Yeah,
that all of a sudden looks really good, but I don't know if I could define the risk right there just based off that alone. I guess you ran these equal lows. That's kind of clean, actually.
Trying to see if I have my Lido charts, because I had Lido versus Bitcoin versus Ethereum and the dollar in here. Let's see. So, man, I used to trade this thing so much. So this is it versus ETH right now.
Okay.
Oh my God, dude, look at this. And then this is it versus Bitcoin.
Yep.
That's not, I mean, look where it's sitting right now. And then this is the actual daily chart. Let me see this. And actually look at what this one. Man, this thing was such a crazy coin to trade, dude. Look at
I know. Look at that. Just such beautiful range trading.
But like if this is a deviation of this trend, right? And you're now you're basically getting it like deviation, okay, then it's fair game to trade up here.
Yeah.
I would actually like almost look at spot positions in this. That looks pretty interesting. I would keep an eye on Lido. We can see how that one works out. But what else? Are there any alts that people want us to look at from the chat?
XRP and Sol.
Sol's taking off.
Yeah, dude, look at Sol. This one, there were some people who were pretty bullish on this and looking at $30 targets, right? I mean, basically this wick. I haven't looked at Sol versus Bitcoin or Sol versus ETH, but is this thing? You're in resistance territory right here. I think though, like, if everything else keeps going up, then like, who's to say this isn't going to go to like freaking $45 or something? You know?
Yeah. What's to keep it down?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But
I think it still underperforms just because of the bag holders from a higher time frame perspective. But yeah, I'm sure Sol does well with everything else. It's moving first. I think the more interesting one to me, actually, besides XRP, is actually Link.
That one had been outperforming with Sol.
Yeah, So remember what I was saying? I think it was on the Spaces like last week or 2 weeks ago. That Link was kind of going to be the warning sign that market's going up. And I kind of faded that little thesis I had, but like, look at this. Link looks really sexy to $22 or even $29 right now. You have an active edge to edge. This is like actually crystal clear, perfect. From an edge to edge perspective, price close in the cloud. You have a TK crossover, GQ span above price, close in the cloud. Let's say you wanted to play this to 22 or 28 potentially. You buy the close in the cloud, stop goes below the cloud, and then the target's the opposite edge. So, the first target would be 22, second target would be 28, 29. Like, these are very attractive trades on a higher time frame. I don't say they happen in a month or whatever, but these are some higher time frames, swing longs you can take using the Ichimoku cloud as a trending indicator to take high time frame swing trades. So
Yeah,
Link
look at the
range.
Look at the range it broke out of.
Yeah, and that's literally how many days.
The longer the range, the more explosive the move.
Exactly. So
well, you're getting a much higher probability.
525
days, dude.
Yeah, come on.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
How big is that candle on the
weekly? 37%. Weekly.
37%.
Yeah, like that's range expansion. Like that's just what it is.
37%.
Like I really strongly doubt that this is a deviation of the range high. It might be. I can probably eat my words, but I really feel like this is range expansion. You have a strong weekly close, a close outside the range high, retested it this previous week. So that's kind of like that should hold 9.6, should kind of hold as support. This should go much higher. You can definitely tighten this up from a swing trade perspective, but this is just Ichimoku says stop goes below the cloud.
So you think it's going to come down to the Tenkan?
No, I don't think it has. I think this range retest it just had at 9.6, whatever day it was yesterday, is really all you really need. Because look, this is the range high.
Oh yeah,
man, and it's just it's like clear as day is like a retest.
I wonder if we can look at Link liquidity on the. Let me see. Let me try.
You pull up liquidity. I'm gonna do a little theory crafting here. If I can get super tight risk reward. 24 and 14. Yeah, kind of. Oh, I guess you could use this cloud. Interestingly enough. What's the liquidity look like?
I'm gonna go back 2 years to see. It's probably 20. I mean, dude, look at this.
Yep. That's right. Yep. That lines up.
So you would play it to 20?
Probably 22 because that's the edge to edge.
I mean, you could go to 30.
And then, or 30. Yeah, 29 essentially.
Yeah. Interesting. So there seems to be a lot more potential upside.
Yeah. Agreed. Supposedly someone says IBTC is back on. Oh, so BlackRock's ticker reappeared magically on the website. Market looks like it's bouncing. 33 would have been a very good buy in hindsight. We're at 34.1 now. I really don't think we pull back. I think that might be the low of potentially the week.
So the BlackRock thing just happened and all these buys came in on ETF on the trend line?
Oh, I was wondering where you pulled it up. Nice. That
When
makes
did
sense.
the BlackRock
data, like just within the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. Here you go. Woo! That's hilarious.
That's beta.
Dude, where did this thing go? 50 cents? Wow. All
50 cents.
So what's the pullback here on this, I guess, is it dropped. Wow, man. On-chain stuff is wild. Went down 40%.
Jeez.
It went down 40% and it's already recovered 23. That's impressive. That's impressive.
That's beta.
Yeah. It's actually like a decently liquid token now.
Since they removed the tax, I know it's been great.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, ETF's probably gonna keep going up then if Bitcoin just got. It's like, oh, that was we're back on the website type thing.
Yep.
Funny game we play.
What's your ETF thesis, PizzaMan?
Similar to y'all's. I mean, I think that more and more people will flow into it because obviously, I like, once again, keep it simple. The ticker's ETF. Once once things get a little bit better, what are people going to go in and look? They're going to type in ETF, and the people that are new, and they're going to type that in, and they're just going to buy it. And it's
I think the beta to Bitcoin thing is
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and having like some like BTC ordinal people come into my spaces and say like that's what makes sense to them. They're probably a lot smarter and like I don't know anything about ordinals, but I was like, all right, cool. Like
there's a lot of intelligent people in the community, the ETF community.
Yeah, it's super schizo. I remember when Avocado was on, I was just looking at that website and I was like, this is it. This is the cult. This is the cult I want to be a part of. I can subscribe
it's fun.
to this.
It's entertaining. You can make money. I mean, what else can you ask for?
I love it. That's a true believer right there, gentlemen. But yeah, it looks like it's doing some range expansion. I was in this range for how long? Let's see, like a month, I think, right?
Dude,
yeah, it was literally a month. It broke out literally after a month of like some reaccumulation, trending up higher. The full measured move would be up to $2.37. That's kind of where I'm expecting resistance. I really think these wicks, like I know these are MEV wicks, whatever. These are just prophecy wicks to the upside. Like we are going to slowly trend towards minimum 237. Then probably, SR flip $1 and then continue higher. This seems like the most left curve thing I've been in a while, and it just makes sense. So
wait,
I don't know an on-chain chart
so
that
that was in a range for 30 days. And what was the size of the range?
Let's see here. It was a 130% range, 120%, over 100% range.
And so it broke above what when it expanded? 18?
20 cents, just shy of 20 cents.
Okay, so if you took 130% above 20 cents, what is it?
Make me do math here, Trip.
I always just use the tool.
Right here, 44 cents, 46 cents.
So then that's sometimes how I look at range expansion measured moves. So then like maybe it sits here and then
Trip, you're fighting my bag, so I want you to stop. Can we please use the log chart so I can continue with the range expansion? Thank you. Good. Okay. So yeah, range expansion, guys. $2.37, 30 days. That's how we're going there.
Oh well.
Trip chart looks neater though without the MEV wicks, I will say.
Yeah. So all right, what are the other alts? Rose? Dude,
INJ. Sol, we talked about Sol, INJ, and then Rose. INJ has been heating up recently. I've been hearing about that one.
I have not looked at a Rose chart in a very long time, but I will pull it up. Rose? Wow, this thing's really went for a ride. I mean, yeah, sure, Rose is at support down here.
Is it going to outperform, though?
Yeah, I mean, this stuff scares me because, like, this probably has a lot of bag holders.
Yep.
Like, crazy amount. You can still trade it, right? I haven't charted it against Bitcoin or anything for that matter. But I would say that here is how I would look at this. If you break this diagonal to cite like with force, you could then use maybe PizzaMan's technique on a retest. But you might not get one. But I mean, again, like like just looking at time, July 2022, June to here. Like this is, I don't know, maybe it's reaccumulation. And then where are you going? You trade up to 21 cents.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a cloud setup on this. Like we can look at the liquidity to see if they even have it on Hyblock. But let's see if they have rows.
I think they do.
Yeah, I just don't know if they have it on the heat map. They don't have it on the heat map. That's the problem. So you don't have that information, which is not the end of the world. But I would use that diagonal as like a reference point, because then if price breaks through that with volume, it's going to go a lot higher.
Yep.
So your upside is like, I mean, if you could just what is it, 4 cents right now or 5 cents, and if you think it's going to 20, then you could just buy spot too. Don't need to necessarily trade that on perps. So yeah, rows. Anything else that was in the chat?
INJ. Got that one.
It's just been going up a long time.
Yeah, INJ has, but it's also a newer coin. It launched end of 21, I believe. End of 21, and it kind of has less bag holders than other coins like Sola we're talking about and Rose, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And this kind of looks like it's going to go for all-time highs pretty shortly. This was a reaccumulation range, broke out. I think any retest of 10 is actually probably a good near-term long if you get it. I don't know that you do. But these equal highs at all-time high. Right, where is it? 25. I think you can probably, let's see here. If you get a retest of 10-ish, you could probably play to 25. I think that's going to make the most sense.
25?
Yeah, I really think you go for all-time highs. I don't think it outperforms anything else, but I do think you go for all-time highs on INJ.
Has anyone looked
Wonder
at
what the liquidity looks like.
You can't look at the heat maps or anything like that.
For INJ?
They don't have the heat maps. They just have the liquidation levels. No, what I was actually trying to do is I wanted to go on CoinGecko to see what the supply metrics are for INJ. Like, so the circulating supplies. All right, so like 80% of the supply is out in the market, which is a good thing. Meaning, fully diluted. Here, hold on a second. So it's a billion market cap, basically. So 1183. So then it's like almost like a couple billion market cap. What is this? What does this do?
I don't think it needs to do anything. A billion's not going to be that much, I feel, in a bull market with a new coin that's going to have bag holders. This is just a coin that's probably going to get into the top 10, top 15 within the next cycle, I assume.
A blockchain built for finance. It's an open, interoperable layer 1 blockchain powering next generation DeFi applications.
I think I need ChatGPT to translate that for me.
Hold on. Injective is backed by a group of prominent investors such as Binance, Pantera, Jump, and Mark Cuban. Well, those guys need to make their money, so I guess those are pretty powerful people to have in the coin if they want to pump it. I think that's something to keep into account. But yeah, what was the all-time high on this thing?
25 or yeah, 25.
It was 25?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. Holy crap. This chart is crazy.
Yeah. That's why I think all-time highs are very feasible.
This does look like it could actually go just to new highs over time, but quickly. INJ. All right. It's another one I missed.
Link, INJ, and what was the other? I think it was just Link and INJ that looked the most attractive, right?
Yeah.
An ETF, obviously, but the beta is the beta. Lido, actually. That's what we're looking at. Lido.
Oh, yeah. Did we look at the SOL liquidity on the heat map?
I thought we looked at it, did we not?
50? 48?
48.
On a 2-year?
Yep.
Hold on. 1 second. Yeah. This zone, 48, 50.
Yep.
Wonder what the 1 year looks like. Wow. Yeah. 40s. Seems feasible.
Yep.
What's Bitcoin doing right now?
34.1.
Whew.
So I don't think we're gonna get that retest. I really think that 33K one was it, and that should kind of be the low.
What's ETH BTC doing?
Nuking.
Yeah. I mean,
That's why I prefer BTC until the move's over. I just don't know why we'd stand in the way of it.
Yeah.
You can kind of use that as your invalidation too. 33.
I like my theory on the 200-day moving average on ETH and it mimicking the move Bitcoin did.
You can see
So
that.
I'll probably watch that closely. All right, cool. It's been like an hour.
Been a good hour. Yep. Awesome. PizzaMan, any parting words for newer traders, how they can kind of get their feet settled and figure out how to navigate the markets? Like, what's the best tip you wish you would have told yourself when you got started trading?
Best tip. Patience.
Well, what's something you wish you knew? Patience.
Patience, yeah, and not over trading, not taking trades when they didn't present themselves. I guess looking for trades, like trying to manifest trades that shouldn't be there, just because I guess maybe bored or you just want to make money, and over trading. Definitely not good. And just have the patience to wait for the right setups, set alerts, and wait for those alerts. And once you have your plan in your mind of what you are going to do, stick to it. Don't deviate from it unless something extreme happens. Because if you do that and you deviate from your plans, you'll just be confused every time. Because then once you do it once, you'll be willing to do it again, and then it'll just be a guessing game every time. So you just have to have your system and stick to it. Don't deviate from it, because sometimes your system will be wrong, but if it's a good system, it will be right more than it's wrong. So don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged when it's wrong.
Facts. Those are the facts.
Any last words here, Trip, before we head out?
No, man. I got to get some sleep, though. So probably won't be doing spaces tonight. I don't know. I think, I think everything's healthy right now for the space. So it's good to see. Having fun. People are happy. Because I think a lot of people have been deprived of happiness in this environment for a really long time.
I love it.
So we'll see how long it lasts. But yeah, we will be here next week.
We will. And, with that said, we talked about a bunch of cool stuff. Link, Lido, ETF. What was the last one we looked at that looked good? INJ. But INJ looked good, so keep an eye out on those. I do think we're in a trending move now. I think using Hyblock to kind of base a lot of your trading right now is going to lead to more losses than it does wins. Being able to pivot and adapt to the change in market. I thought this was a range. This is now a trending market. I'm going to pivot to Ichimoku. Weekly edge says up. Let's try to look at low time frames. Hourly key dreams, mean reversion. Try to get long in a trending market. But yeah, guys, trending move to the upside, and we'll see what we have next week. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next week. Captain Cole signing out.
Later, guys.